Hi there, my name's Yvonne McKenna and I'm the Deputy Head Teacher at Clyde Valley High School with responsibility for transition. I would like to begin by thanking you sincerely for taking the time to listen to this presentation. Under normal circumstances, I would take great pleasure in welcoming you to our assembly hall at Clyde Valley High School of an evening where you would get the opportunity to visit our campus, soak up the atmosphere in our school, and have the opportunity to meet with key members of staff responsible for supporting your young person as they take the next crucial step in their education between primary and secondary. Unfortunately, circumstances being what they are, that is not possible at the moment. And we've taken the decision to make this presentation available to you at a time and a place of your choosing. Because you're not physically in the building and you're not meeting with us all in person, it's difficult for you to ask questions. I appreciate that. But what I would ask is if you get to the end of all of this and it doesn't answer everything that you wanted to know, you have further queries, or there's more information that you would like, then I would encourage you to get in touch with me and I'll let you know how to do that at the end of the presentation. So we begin as we begin everything, every piece of work, every project, every initiative, and every day at Clyde Valley High School, and that is with our vision and values. If you have a look at the bottom of the slide here, you'll see CVHS in red. That's a caring community where everyone is valued, healthy, happy, and succeeds together. And our vision and values guides us in everything that we do, from our day in, day out interactions with our pupils and our pupils' interactions with each other. It guides the themes of the assemblies that we deliver every week. It guides the work that we do in terms of our sort of charitable work. It guides major projects that we do to support our young people. And it really is beyond a vision and values. It is our ethos, and it is what you should see, feel, experience when you come into our school and you walk around it. These are the vision and values, and these are the values that you should see displayed across the school by all members of our school community. They are not the work of one person. It was not our head teacher who came up with them and thought that they worked well with our school initials or anything like that. They are the result of very focused partnership working between parents, pupils, carers, and staff, and everybody, all stakeholders, coming together to say, what do we want to see evident in our school community? What do we want our school community to be? And what do we feel best characterises our school community? And this is what they have come up with. So, the presentation that I am taking you through has covered vision and values. It's very much going to be concerned with support, and you're going to have the opportunity to see the members of the Clyde Valley High School team who are principally concerned with supporting our young people, and I'll give you a deeper understanding of the role that we all play in that. You're going to have a look at the curriculum, give you an understanding of what your young person will cover when they are with us for the first few years at Clyde Valley High School, and give you a real sense of what a first year's day looks like, a typical first year day. We're then going to move on to what your young person needs to have before they come to Clyde Valley High School, and then we're going to finish on looking at that crucial relationship between parents and carers and school, which, as we all know, the more positive that is, the more ready communication is, the better outcomes our young people are likely to have at the end of their time at Clyde Valley. We're going to begin with the Senior Leadership Team, SLT, is the term that's bandied about for short. So when you hear that SLT, it is the Senior Leadership Team. The Senior Leadership Team is comprised of 4 members, with our head teacher, Mr. Quayle, at its head. And there are 4 deputy head teachers, Mr. Cross, Mr. Glover, Mr. Lanigan, and myself, Mrs. McKenna. And you will see underneath all of the deputies' names, you have our kind of main area of responsibility, although certainly not our exclusive area of responsibility. If you would like to know a little bit more about all of our remits and exactly what we are all responsible for, that is available on our school website, and you can go and check that out if that interests you. But I think that for the purpose of this presentation, what I would like you to know, and what I think is most important for you to know, is that our absolute priority as a team is the safety and security of our young people. It is our young people's well-being, and it is that we ensure the smooth running of our school and guarantee a calm and purposeful work environment for all of our young people. So that is our kind of that is what we spend all day in the school making sure happens. And we do that by being around all the time. We are always in the school. We will be at every event that is on in the evenings. We are here from early in the morning when Mr. Quayle welcomes all of the children or all of the young people into the school building as he stands at the front door. All of the deputies are in the social area before the school day begins, getting the young people ready for the challenges of the day ahead, making sure that everybody is calm and ready to learn and organised with what they need. We are around in the social area at every interval, every lunchtime, and right up into the point where we take them up the drive and put them onto the buses at the end of the day, or make sure that they are safely off the campus, walking home or being taken home by parents and carers. So I think that's probably the really important thing that you want to be reassured of, and I'm able to do that without any hesitation. We are always around, and we are always around to make sure that your children are safe, secure, cared for, and that their well-being is cared for as well. If you have a look at myself and Mr. Lanigan, you will see that we have house responsibility. So we have 2 houses in Clyde Valley High School, Curran House and Holdsworth House. Mr. Lanigan is responsible for Curran. I am responsible for Holdsworth. And that's how things are at the moment. However, our role, our number of pupils is ever increasing. And as such, that may bring about a change. We are considering the possibility of introducing a third house group. So by the time your young person comes to us, there may be a third deputy head teacher with house responsibility. Although we are head of house, Mr. Lanigan and myself, with overarching responsibility for all of the pupils in that house, it's not us who are your main point of contact in secondary school. And I would also make clear at this point that it's not Mr. Quayle either. I know that in primary school, you were probably used to contacting head teacher with any queries, issues, problems, or you might have been in the habit of having a word with your child's class teacher if there was any information that you wanted to pass on about your young person, which you think it's important for school to know about. That wouldn't be the system in secondary school, and I'm going to outline to you in a moment who it is that you do get in touch with. So extended pupil support team. And the first thing that I'm going to point out here is that we in Clyde Valley High School have a great number of members of staff whose principal focus is supporting our young people. When your when your children come to us in August, our school roll will be anywhere between 750 and 800 pupils, and all of the people on this slide are principally concerned with support. So our children are well resourced in that area, I'm pleased to say. And I think that that tells you a lot about what we think is important at Clyde Valley High School. We're going to just start by talking about principal teachers of pupil support. As I said a moment ago, 2 houses at the moment. I'm head of Holdsworth, Mr. Lanigan is head of Curran. Every house has 2 principal teachers of pupil support. So as things stand at the moment, we have Miss Ferry and Mr. Ferry, who are principal teachers of pupil support for Holdsworth House. And they are your main point of contact. So what I described a moment ago, if you have any issues, questions, queries, concerns, anything that you want to raise with the school, any important information that you think that the school knows about your child, then it is these people that you ask for in the first instance. So you're going to phone and you're going to ask for Miss Ferry, Mr. Ferry, Miss Brown, or Mr. Somerville, depending on which class your child is in. So if your child is in Holdsworth and they are in a H1 or a H3 class, that's 1 Holdsworth 1 or 1 Holdsworth 3, they will be with Miss Ferry. If they are in a H2 or a H4 class, so Holdsworth 2 or Holdsworth 4, then they will be with Mr. Ferry. If they are in Curran House and in C1 or C3, then they will be with Miss Brown. And if they are in C2 or C4, then they will be with Mr. Somerville. And these people are absolutely crucial. They are the link between school and home. They are the people that you need to know that you can go to if you have any issues. And even more importantly, they are the people that your child needs to know they can go to if they have any issues in school. So they really are an incredibly important facet of support for our children. So knowing who your child's PT of pupil support is absolutely critical, and always encouraging them to go to their PT or pupil support if you think there's anything going on that they need a wee bit of direction with, a wee bit of support with, a wee bit of advice, if they need somebody to advocate for them and speak up for them, find out what's going on. If you have any suspicions that your child's a wee bit unhappy or a wee bit unsettled, then you just lift the phone and you ask for their principal teacher of pupil support. That is why they are there. So please always get in touch with us. We expect you to get in touch with us. We want you to get in touch with us. That is how your child will thrive at school. So those are our PTs of pupil support. Mr. Lang is there on the slide as well. Mr. Lang is a PE teacher. But in order to gain more experience in the area of pupil support, he has responsibility for 2H3. So that's why he's included in the slide here as well. If you have a look on the slide on the bottom row, you have Mr. Keating, Principal Teacher of Inclusion and Support for Learning, also there to support pupils. That is his raison d'etre. That is what his job is entirely about. Mr. Keating, along with Esther Craig, who is our Homeschool Partnership Officer, has already at this point in the year done an awful lot of work around transition. They have visited primary schools. They have been heavily involved in the visits in November when your children came to Clyde Valley. They have been involved in meetings with teachers and with parents and carers. So they have a really good handle at the moment on where all of your children are in the transition process. Mr. Keating, in his role as Principal Teacher for Inclusion and Support for Learning, is responsible for identifying and sharing barriers to learning that any of our young people may have with our wider staff, and for offering strategies and methodologies which would allow our wider staff to ensure that our young people overcome those and perform to and progress to potential. Esther does very focused work with families and very focused work with sort of targeted groups or individual pupils, helping them overcome any particular issues or needs that they may have. So she offers a kind of really very targeted support for our young people. The last person on this slide that I've not referred to as yet is Mrs. Bateman. Mrs. Bateman is our inclusion support teacher. She is available to our young people when their class teacher deems them to not be what we call ready to learn. So in Clyde Valley High School, we have a relationships policy called Included, Engaged, Involved and Ready to Learn. And if we feel that a young person is not ready to learn, and if we feel that we have given them as much support in the classroom to get them ready to learn, to ensure they're ready to learn as possible, then they can go to Mrs. Bateman and she will spend time working with them in a very targeted way so that they can reflect on their behaviour, they can think about their feelings, and they can process their emotions and ensure that they return to class as quickly as possible in the frame of mind that is required for learning, to ensure that they are ready to learn. If a child is sent to Mrs. Bateman or goes to Mrs. Bateman, reports to her because they are not ready to learn, then parents or carers will receive a text message home letting them know that that's happened through the course of the day with their young person. And there's a good deal of dialogue that goes on between class teachers to let Mrs. Bateman know what the situation has been, why the child has been sent from class. And there's a good deal of dialogue across the whole pupil support team to make sure that that's not a frequent occurrence, and that we keep those episodes to a minimum. So that's the kind of team that we have in place around all of our children within the school. Okay, so that's support. We're now going to talk about curriculum. So in S1 to S3, your children are in the junior phase of their secondary education. They continue to follow the broad general education. In S1 or we call it or the BGE, and I'm going to drop that in because we make these references all the time in teaching or in schools: SLT, senior leadership team, PTPS, PT or pupil support, BGE, broad general education. When you hear us talking about the BGE, what we are referring to is the first 3 years of secondary. It's for the first 2 years where pupils follow a common course, so they all do the same thing, not at exactly the same time because that would not be possible timetable wise, but by the end of their 33 period week, all of our S1 and S2 all of our S1 pupils will have experienced the same range of subjects for the same amount of time and had the same amount of exposure to those subjects, and the same is true for S2. So it's a common course. They do a huge number of subjects across S1 and S2. They get the opportunity to experience all kinds of subjects, and they get that opportunity to see what their strengths are, to develop interests in certain subjects, to discover their passions for certain subjects. So that all happens in S1 and S2 when they get to experience a range of subjects in a range of departments across the school. Through that common course, through that broad general education, pupils develop the core skills, they accrue the knowledge, and they work on the attitudes that are going to be required for success in the senior phase. Senior phase is the examined phase of their time at secondary school, S4, 5 and 6. So S1 to 3, absolutely crucial because we are laying the foundations in terms of developing the skills that they're going to need later on. They are assimilating knowledge from all areas across the curriculum that they're going to need to draw from. And they're also developing those attitudes that are going to get them on and they're going to allow them to experience success in the senior phase and indeed beyond once they get out into the wider world of work. The skills that they develop, from communication skills, interpersonal skills, ICT skills, literacy skills, numeracy skills, are skills which are absolutely fundamental to them having success in the world of work when they leave us. And the attitudes side of things, equally important as well. We hope through the broad general education to allow our young people to work on and develop attitudes which are going to promote values such as perseverance, dedication, commitment, being able to work as part of a team, things that are going to stand them in good stead for any challenge in school and beyond. In S1 and S2, as I've said, they follow a common course. They all work on the same subjects for the same amount of time across the week. S3 is a bit different. In S3, we allow for personalisation and choice. So in S3, or at around about kind of halfway through S2, they begin to make personalisation and choice. That means that they start to narrow down the subjects that they are working on or that they are learning. But they are very supported through that process by their principal teacher of pupil support and by deputy head teachers and by our colleague Gail Connolly in Skills Development Scotland. So there is a good deal of work in S2 that prepares. So the core curriculum in S1 to S3, all pupils will cover English, Maths, PE, RME, PSE and modern languages. So they will do that to varying degrees and for varying lengths of time across S1 and S2. As you would expect with literacy and numeracy being so crucial, a good deal of their time they will be spent in English and Maths as they develop those skills. And the kind of health and well-being aspect, which is the kind of third crucial area, is delivered through PE, RME and PSE as well. So that is what they will, all of our pupils will cover all of these areas, S1 to S3. There are also what is known as the key curricular areas. So they will cover social subjects, that is history, geography and modern studies. In sciences, they will experience all three sciences in S1 and S2, so that is chemistry, physics and biology. In technologies, they will develop their ICT skills and their design skills, and they will do that through subjects such as technical. They will do that in home economics. They will do that in business education and ICT as well. So those are all of our technologies. And then we have the expressive arts, which are drama, music, art. PE comes under expressive arts as well. So they have the opportunity to experience all of those subjects too. And modern languages is something that they do S1, 2 and 3, and that in modern languages actually comes under the language part of the curriculum, which English is in as well. So what we have here is a typical timetable for an S1 pupil at Clyde Valley High School. And I think it's really useful that you get to see this, because what you will see if you sit and have a look at it is a jam-packed day. I would imagine that you're going to be dealing with some young people who come home at the end of this day when they first come to us at Clyde Valley, and they're going to be pretty tired. They're going to be a wee bit strung out maybe at times. They're going to be really excited because they're going to do so many fabulous subjects that they've not done before, and they're going to discover things that they absolutely love. So it is a really, really exciting time. And what they get really excited about is the fact that they get to try new things, they get to go to new subjects, they get to move around the building all day, they get to have a different teacher every 50 minutes. So there is a lot of excitement about that, and they are all absolutely ready for it when it comes. So please don't be looking at this and thinking about the reality of that day and thinking that that's going to be too much of a jump or a leap for your young person. It's absolutely not. When it arrives, when August comes round, they are ready to make this step. But you're going to have some tired young people at the end of this day, and I always like to have a look at one of the days and get you to consider the skills that are being used across that day. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at Thursday, for example. So we're going to start on Thursday, and they're going to go to modern languages. Where in modern languages they are very likely to be, or almost certainly going to be, working on their communication skills. They are very likely to be working on their teamwork skills, their interpersonal skills, their language skills. So they're going to be working on all of that period one. By the time they get to period two, they are off to music with Mrs. Chalmers, where they are going to be demands are going to be made of their coordination in music, and they're going to be working on, and their demands will be made of their creative skills. As they move into period three, after they've had their interval, they're going to go to Mrs. Ashton in humanities, and she may be covering a bit of geography, she may be covering a bit of history, or a bit of modern studies, but she will be making demands of their research skills or their problem solving skills. As we then move across to maths with Mr. Russell right before lunch, their numeracy skills come into play, obviously. Their problem solving skills almost certainly come into play. And then we move across to English. After lunch, period five, they've got Mr. Darlington English, and it's literacy skills all the way, as well as a good number of the other things that I've just mentioned there as well. Interpersonal, communication, teamwork. Moving into science with Mr. Quinn, period six, they're certainly going to be using their problem solving skills in that subject. And then they'll round off their day with Mrs. Ashmore, where they're working on their IT skills in her department. So demands being made in every direction all throughout that day. A taxing day, but an exciting day. And they do get an awful lot out of their education. They are offered a massive wealth of experience through this curriculum. So interesting to see, and it lets you kind of get a flavour of what their days are going to look like. So jam-packed days when they come to us in August. School day is different to the primary school day, so it's just some practicalities here really. Our days vary. Monday, Tuesday and Thursday are our longer days. Every day begins at 8:55, so at 5 to 9 the bell rings for our first period class. And on Mondays, Tuesdays and Thursdays we have 7 period days. They end at 3:45. Wednesdays and Fridays are our short days. They are 6 period days and they end at 5 to 3. Our interval, our playtime goes from 10:35 to 10:50, so they get 15 minutes off. and lunchtime goes from 12:30 until 1:15, 45 minutes. So they have all in an hour off across that whole day. So again, quite demanding if you're on a 7-period day and you're a young person. And I should say at lunchtimes, our first years are not allowed to go outside. They stay in the building. They can go out the back to our kind of essentially playground area out the back of the school building. They can bring a packed lunch or eat from the school canteen. And then we would encourage them to make the most of all of the clubs and activities that are on offer in the school. And there is a vast array of things to cater for all interests and hobbies and anything that your young person might want to take part in can be found in some department across the school, and you'll get more details about those once they arrive with us in August. Uniform policy. At this point, I would normally have 2 very smartly dressed pupils standing at the front of the hall so you can have a look at a typical Clyde Valley High School pupil. A typical Clyde Valley High School pupil is very, very smart looking, is what I would have to say. If you go to our website, there is an area on uniform and you can have a read through the policy if you would like to do that. If not, I can give you the information that you're likely to want here and now, which is starting at the bottom of, starting at the feet and working our way up, plain black shoes or plain black trainers. Moving up for boys, plain black school trousers, and for girls, school skirt, black or black school trousers, not leggings, not jeggings, not dark jeans, nothing like that. It is trousers that we're looking for boys and girls, or girls can wear skirts with black tights, usually black tights if that's what they would prefer. Moving up then, white shirt, and if your young person would like to wear a jumper, then a plain black V-neck jumper. All of these things are by design available in any supermarket for very little money. So these items can be purchased relatively cheaply. And the bits of uniform which are specific to Clyde Valley High School are the tie, which you can buy from the reception of the school at a cost of around about £5, or you can get them from the main street in Wishaw as well. And also our blazer. Blazers are mandatory. That is something that has been agreed upon by all members of the school community. It is something that we are very strong on, and as deputy head teachers and the head teacher, we spend time in the morning when our young people are on their way to classes, and also at the end of break and at the end of lunchtime, ensuring that they all look as they should and they are all ready to move off to class, looking businesslike, feeling businesslike, in full uniform and wearing their blazer as they move around the school. If for any reason you are having a difficult time getting hold of uniform, then please, please, please phone us and let us know. We have spare uniform. We have spare bits of brand new uniform. We also are very lucky because the authority has linked us with a company which dry cleans items of uniform for us. So we have everything professionally dry cleaned as well, but we have things that we can give people. It's absolutely not a problem if there's any issues with uniform whatsoever. We would really like to know if we can help with that, so please let us know. We work with academy uniforms, and normally what we would do at this time is have academy uniforms in, and they would fit our young people for blazers, and you would have all their measurements, and that would make it really easy to order everything that they need. Obviously we can't do that at the moment, but I would encourage you just to look up academy uniforms, go onto their website, and you can make orders over their website if you know your child's size. So please check that out. But any issues, please feel free to let us know about those. Give us a wee call. So thought on a practical level, it's just good for you to know what your young person is likely to need. A school bag. Again, if you have any problems supplying your child with a school bag, let us know. They really do need a school bag. There is no doubt about that. In secondary school, they need to have a school bag. Even if for whatever reason they're terrible at taking them back and forward, we will keep the school bag for them in the school. But it really is not a good sign when we have a young person coming to school without a school bag. So make sure that they have that and let us know if we can help. Basic stationery, they don't need to have anything fancy. They don't need to have they don't need to have 24 pencils and sort of 20 pens. If you can get them in with 2 pencils and a pen, to be honest, anything beyond that is just really nice if they can have it. We can provide them with everything. Indeed, we can provide them with stationery if they need it as well. So again, that message, if we can provide anything, let us know and we will. A water bottle, it's good for them to be able to drink water in class. It is only water that they are allowed to drink in class, not flavoured water, not kind of anything that's a juice or whatever. So it's water. And we have Clyde Valley water bottles as well, which you can get in touch and order from us if you would like to do that. Otherwise, obviously just any water bottles that you've got in the house. But we do try to be as eco-friendly as possible and go easy on the plastic. So it's up to you if you want to send them with plastic bottles of water, but more economic and kinder to the environment if they have a plastic water bottle. PE kit, whenever they've got PE, obviously, black bottoms, so like black, just plain black tracksuit bottoms, plain black leggings, plain black shorts, plain white t-shirt, or they can buy a branded Clyde Valley t-shirt from the front desk, and they are a great kind of tip, I would have to say. They're like really nice proper sports t-shirts. The kids like wearing them. They wash really well. They're good quality and they're relatively cheap. So you can buy one of the PE kit tops from the front desk. We have plenty of those in stock. Lunchtime, I have mentioned already. I would encourage everyone to use the canteen. The canteen is great. It has a great selection of hot and cold food and very healthy foods. Or your young person should bring a packed lunch if that's what they would rather, and they will eat it on the premises and they will not leave the premises at lunchtimes. Mobile phones should be switched off and kept out of sight in classes, or they will be removed by teachers. That is part of our kind of policy with mobile phones. And I would ask you not to, or to be mindful of our school day and the times of the school day that I referred to on a previous slide, and not contact your children via mobile phone, be it by text or even by phoning during the course of the school day, unless it's lunchtime, because children then become a bit self-righteous about the fact that it's their mum, for example, calling them. Well, we won't have any issues if mum doesn't try to call. If you need to get hold of your child, and we understand that that might happen, then please phone the main school reception on 01698 274 950, and if we need to get a message to your child, then we absolutely will. But it would really help us out if parents and carers weren't contacting their children at all, even by text, kind of during the course of the school day. And the last thing is, if you need help sourcing or getting hold of or paying for anything that I've kind of talked about throughout this talk, then please let us know. We want to help. It's absolutely our responsibility to help as well. Okay, so I said that I wanted to talk about working together. Every piece of educational research that has ever been done confirms time and again that children do their best if school and parents and school and home are working in tandem, if there is a good relationship between school and home. Again, that's where the PT of pupil support, the principal teacher of pupil support, is so critical, because they are your link to us and they are our link to you. So please remember and find out who that person is when you get that information, and please don't hesitate to ever contact us. We want to hear from you. I have put a bullet point here about attendance. The other piece of the other thing that we found out through every piece of research that's ever been done is that children don't succeed and children don't perform to potential unless they are at school. We really, really do have a spotlight on attendance at the moment at Clyde Valley. If we have any concerns about attendance, you can expect to be contacted by Principal Teacher Pupil Support, Esther Craig Homeschool Partnership Officer, on occasion Mr Keating, who's the Head of Support for Learning and Inclusion, and possibly even Mr Lanigan or myself as Deputy Head Teacher, Head of House. It's something that is reviewed constantly because it's so critical to your child's outcomes. So I would ask that if you're ever not sure about sending them to school, please just send them in, and if they're not able to sustain the day, then we'll contact you and send them home. So if in doubt, please send them. Obviously there are times when you're not going to be able to do that because they're simply not fit to be at school, but you know, if you're unsure when you're judging it, then please send them in. We are using Twitter more and more, as all schools are. Most of our departments have their own Twitter accounts. The first thing I would do if I were you and you haven't already is I would get a Twitter account if you don't have one. And if you do, follow us at Clyde Valley High School. That's how you find out everything that's going on. Really, the first thing we do is start to tweet things out, and our departments do the same. Once you follow us, it'll then be suggested that you follow other departments across the school. I would do that as well. And you'll get to see some really interesting stuff, like you'll get to see work that's going on across the school that potentially your young person is involved in. You'll be updated to events, just really anything that's going on in the school. If you go onto the school website, there is a link to Show My Homework, which is a website or an app that we have purchased the license for, in order to allow you to easily see what your young person is doing or is supposed to be doing. So we do understand that at the age they are, they're not always very forthcoming about the demands of school and what they're supposed to be doing. And we do understand that often when you, as concerned parents and carers, ask them what they're meant to be doing, you just get a nothing. Well, if you think they maybe should be doing something, or if you're hearing nothing too often, please go onto our website at Clyde Valley, or just Google Clyde Valley High School. Go into the website, there's a link, Show My Homework, click on the link, and you don't need a PIN, you don't need a passcode, nothing. You can look up your child's year group in class and look at all of the homework that's available to them at any time. We have a thriving parent group at Clyde Valley High School. They do a tremendous amount of work for our school in terms of fundraising and representing the school to counsellors or kind of the authority, or just really kind of working hard on behalf of the school. We would like as many people to come along to that as possible. They have a page on our website that you should check out, or simply just turn up. They meet on the last Wednesday of every month. If you turn up at 7 o'clock, we would be delighted to see you there. So please come along to the parent group. They do a lot of great work. And it's really interesting for you because you get to hear exactly what's kind of going on from the horse's mouth. The head teacher updates the parent group every month about what's been going on in the school. And the last thing is, if we have an event in the school and it's an event that's for your child's year group, an information evening for options or personalisation and choice, or if it's a parent evening, please come. If you can't come, please get in touch beforehand and let us know so we know how we can get the necessary information to you. But please come along to all of these events. If your child sees that you're comfortable coming to the school, if your child has a sense that you have a connection to the school and an interest in it, then they will do better. There is no doubt about that. So please come to everything, stay up to date. If you can't come for any reason, let us know and we'll try to make sure that you get everything that you need to support your young person at home. So that was our presentation. That was my presentation. If you have any further questions, queries, want any more information about anything at all, please get in touch with me. You can phone the school on 01698 274 950. That's 01698 274 950. Give the school a phone. The reception is manned at the moment, even though the school is closed, and I will be emailed with your. I will be sent an email, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Or again, go onto our website. If you just Google Clyde Valley High School, go onto our website, and there is an inquiries page, and we check that regularly. Just email an inquiry, and we'll get back to you. So, thank you for taking the time to listen to this. I hope you found it interesting and informative. I'm really sorry that we couldn't do this in the way that we had intended in our assembly hall in our school. And I really do hope that we get the opportunity to all be together in person as soon as possible. Thank you. Bye bye.